Welcome to the Zenjaverse, fam. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for making it. Look at this fun shirt. I know, right? And there's even a little, I know. It's great to see you. We're going to get to some music here in a second. That's going to be fantastic. I have some special presents for some special people later on in the show. I answer some questions and I talk a little bit about the book that just came out. So I'm really excited. So I want to jump into that. And of course, you can always look in the description below, and just jump to the stuff you want to check out, but I'm here for you, and you've been here for me lately a lot, and I really want to just make that connection and talk to you a little bit and hear your thoughts as well. So do hit the comments. So I know it's all kind of smoky here in Oregon, and we're all kind of red-eyed and coughing and whatnot. But I just want to get some of the sun on me, and we're just going to do it anyway. That music you hear in the background, there's a music festival going on, and so there's like reggae, hip-hop, and electronic music and stuff going on. It's just like a mile that way, and you can just hear it blasting. So yeah, we'll just leave that in the background too. First things first, I wanted to tell you that I recognize everybody. It's been a really crazy time. And before I jump into the music, I just wanted you to know why I'm doing that in the first place. We have a lot of new energy. There's a lot of new things going on in the world. A lot of things are changing. A lot of relationships are changing in our lives, and we have new ones, and ones are being lost, and things like that. And each relationship requires a different type of energy and patience and nuance and delicacy and attention, and human relationships are what this is all about, right? Like making human connection and finding your real families and really finding your tribe and thinking differently, moving forward together in harmony, right? So one of the reasons I do the music is to process what's happening in my life and in life in general. And I really feel like it can bring us to a settled space by doing art, by doing creative things, by doing music. We immerse ourselves in a present space, in a heart space, right? Your head might be involved, your intellect might be involved, but you're not really in the past or the future. If you're doing it right, when you're creating, you're present in that moment. And I think that's very important, because not only does it connect you to yourself, right, but it can connect you to other people. Like when we dance and we're harmonizing, we're moving in that energy together. It's really, there's so much good in that. I don't even need to explain it to you, where we create human connection, and we celebrate all the hard work that we've done, and we give ourselves a moment to really appreciate the beauty that is there. It's not always a war. It doesn't always have to be a fight. Like, we can take moments to appreciate one another, the beauty of life, ourselves. That's important. As well as in crazy times, I think it's super important to not always throw more of your ingredients into the mix, right? Like, last thing before we jump to the music, right, and go forward, it's that one of the things that's valuable for me in a crazy time like it's been is to instead of, when I see a bunch of stuff bubbling, or I see an alchemy that I don't quite understand, whether it's inside of me, right, or likewise something I'm observing, externally, if it's popping off and something's not right, I want to understand the alchemy of that. I want to understand what those ingredients are and how they're interacting. And I don't want to throw a bunch of more of my ingredients and just have an unnecessary explosion, right? So I think that's a good thing to do sometimes, is when you see it get all intense, is not try to stamp it down to make it peaceful. You're just adding more aggressive energy to it quite often, even if you have good intentions. So what I like to do is I like to take those feelings and just understand them, integrate them. Don't be afraid of them. Admit that it can be overwhelming, right? Feel that, integrate that, don't judge it, just learn from it. And then when you understand A, B, and C, then and you see it clearly, then you can move on to D, E, and F, right? Our timing is important. We want to take solid steps. So again, when you move into stillness, into an observant space, right? And you move towards, which is stillness, right? It's doing nothing really. And then you move into an active creation, right? You can bring beauty from chaos. You can take the ugliness of life, the overwhelmingness, you can make it something beautiful. You really can. I believe you're transmuting that energy, right? You take all of that, right? that scares you, that frustrates you, that empowers you, that inspires you, right? You take all that overwhelming energy, whether it seems positive or negative, right? And you embrace all of those things, move with your beauty into a new act of love, and let that connection, let that stillness, that feeling space happen, because there's really no joy in thinking, really, is there? There's just joy in feeling. So joy is important. Bliss, that peace is important, okay? We're not here to fight all the time. So, so I'm going to jump into the music. We're going to go forward. We're going to take all the energy we've had lately, right? And we're just going to own it, okay? We're going to breathe it in, not judge it. And we're going to go forward into the next track, which some of you might remember, one of the first tracks I ever wrote once I fell in love with THI was a song called Go Forward. And since I love to dance so much and I really want to make that happen, I turned Go Forward into a dance remix. I call it the Source Remix. So here it is. Go Forward. Go forward, it's all about now. Go forward, make it count loud. Go forward, listen to the birds sing. I'ma make the bells ring and on to the next thing. I see the scared setting up a soft position. Always seem so focused on the opposition. I think differently, club of the people, serving all the souls that be running from the steeple now. We got a vision for the future now, children. Opposite the system that the old got rebuilding. We got the trust and the ethic for the working. Love, sweat, and tears propagate a pure circuit now. Go forward, it's all about now. Go forward, make it count loud. Go forward, listen to the birds sing. I'ma make the bells ring and on to the next thing. For the film we break a dam of information. Tuning in the station, giving total liberation. Inflation of the ego, we don't need it, my friends. Cause our hearts spark fire in the dark to the end. Go forward, it's all about. Go forward, make it count. Go forward, listen to the birds sing. I'ma make the bells ring on to the next thing. Baby, I think I need to mention, maybe some things will need attention. I know you wanna run true, but I tell you soon it's gonna swallow. Go forward, it's all about now. Go forward, make it count. Go forward, listen to the birds sing. I'ma make the bells ring on to the next thing.
I'ma make the bells ring.
Wait, you didn't think that I would process all my feelings for such a crazy time and wonderful time in one song, did you? Of course not. What's that mean? B-side, bonus track, coming up. We call this one 100 Monkeys. Yeah, 100 Monkeys. Here's your B-side. Check it out. Get ready to dance. Mwah!
Came to play. Now something's out of place. Seems everything I say, they throw it back in my face. It's like 100 monkeys are hunting me for years just to punk me. But they ain't that lucky sunseed. Sit a circle years soars above me. What's all this ruckus about? It's like someone let the holy dogs out. While fear dictates hate, we integrate faith on the daily bravely. Blessed to serve but sick of a witless business propagated non-stop by kids, hell-bent, selfish and divisive, derivative of listed broken systems. 100 monkeys is right, but who came to play your cause of what's all this ruckus about? It's like someone let the holy dogs out. While fear dictates hate, we integrate faith on the daily bravely.
Hope you like that, right? We're talking about we had xylophones today and claps and chimes and bells and the usual drums and bass and crazy synths. But did you catch it? Guitars. Oh man, we're getting silly. Hope you like that. All right, this is so exciting. Thomas, please forgive me, brother. I got you a present. I couldn't help it. I was moved to do so. So check this out. I wanted to get you these when I saw them. Something practical. Anybody can use this. Something from a company here in Oregon, it looks like. Right. And it's the Bigfoot Sock Company. That's right. The Bigfoot Sock Company. Everyone can use socks. You telling me you don't need socks? We all need socks sometimes. So this is what I have for you when we get to see each other in person, and I hope you like it. Ready? Drum roll. Oh my gosh. Ready? What? Yeah, that's right. Bigfoot being abducted by aliens. Oh my gosh. And we all know how much you love Oregon. There's Oregon vibe all over this. A little bit of Zenja love thrown in there at you, brother. These are for you. Okay? All right. I just want to say thank you for, putting up with all of us. We're like 100 monkeys sometimes, I know. But, you've been there for all of us, and I wanted to just, I saw him and I had to get him for you anyway, but really the occasion to just celebrate all the good news that's happened recently, as well as the book coming out. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that was there for you. And let's talk about the book. So I am so thrilled that the book is out. It's available now. It's for free download. I'll try to get a link below. But yeah, the THI book is out, and so much material that had been gathered over the years, over a lifetime really, by Thomas and some other folks, was collected to be presented in a way that the world could kind of look at it in chunks and maybe bite-sized pieces. And really have an opportunity to take the information at their own pace and hear it from some other voices, because there's so much stuff that is out there already. You can hear it in Thomas' way and his wonderful way he delivers it. But sometimes it's nice to hear it from more than just one person, Like, it's not one person saying the stuff. There's other people out there who've been looking at this information, and a ton of it he's collected, but other stuff that we've collected over the years ourselves. And we wanted to bring that to you all in one place from different perspectives. People from very different backgrounds who from all over the world came together just as an act of love to share. We just want to bring as much honesty and light to the world as we can. And so that's what happened. And it's there for you to learn, to take in new knowledge, to feel the energy of it, and know that there's other people out there who've been through crazy stuff like you. Sometimes way worse, sometimes not as bad. Everyone has different struggles. But I can tell you, when you read this book, you'll see that there's people who've been through a lot, and they bounced back, fam. They did. They did. They found themselves back. They got themselves back. They found groups of people to support them, and they were able to get good information and good connections with source and themselves and each other, and that oneness. And that's in that book for you. So hopefully you'll see the growth and the journey, and something in there will resonate with you. Maybe not all of it. Absorb what is useful and digest that, and then you can read the rest later. I want to say this about the book, because I think this has to do with the person reading it. Okay, this is important. Someone told me a story. I'll give you a short story once, and it's very enlightening, and I think it was very enlightening to me. She said that, I spoke to a woman who was a college professor who'd read Catcher in the Rye 3 times. This is what she said. she said when she read Catcher in the Rye the first time, she was in high school, right? Because she was supposed to, you know, it was like, read this or whatever. So she did, and she hated it. And then she read it again in her 30s, and she thought it was very, very sad. But she thought it was well written, but she got it to a larger degree, she felt, but it also made her sad. That was the response. From hating it the first time, it was sad. Well, she read it again in her 50s, and she thought it was hilarious. She thought it was funny, right? Just different. She didn't hate it. It wasn't sad. She was cracking up. So was it the book? Is Catcher in the Rye this or that or this or that, right? Or is it a mirror, right? Are books really a reflection in a lot of ways, right? So when you read this book, if it just gives you energy and it's like, yes, and connects these dots and light bulbs go off, that's awesome. If it triggers you, I want to submit to you that it could, maybe it's not the information, maybe it's where you're at or what you're thinking about, what you believe already, and that kind of thing. Just remember that this is a collection of the most honest history and understanding of not just history but science and spirit and self. You know, it's a collection of just honest love. So know that that's what it's for, and it's not to be divisive. You know, people might think, oh, they're talking about race this or race that when we start talking about the races, but we're all star seeds, okay? So and we've all been living together and breeding together for a very long time, and we're really all one, you know. Like, so just read the pieces and learn, and don't jump to too many conclusions. Remember that it's taken years for a lot of us to digest this information. Years, okay? So don't think you're going to do it in one read, right? Like, oh, I get it. Like, especially if you're new. Oh boy. So, but we're there for you, you know. So if you have any further questions, you know, obviously we want to be there for that and support that. So, yeah. Thank you again to Thomas and Michael and Kim and all the other people in the background there that did everything you could to make it even possible for us to have this dream, you know, even get any kind of legs. And thanks again to all the people just who helped in all the production. You're just amazing people. I'm glad I know you. It's just, if I get hit by a truck tomorrow, I can die happy knowing that I was blessed to have the best, you know, people around me in my life. Just the coolest, most amazing, inspiring people I've ever even heard of on the planet. I've had a chance to meet and get closer to. So that's just, I just feel like I don't deserve that, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't earn that. I just feel blessed, you know. I just feel blessed. So yeah. I wanted to this is just fun. I was really just gonna throw up a couple tracks today, but I had to just get to you and throw some love. So one last thing, and this will be fun. A question came up recently. It wasn't asked to me directly, but I've been asked this in the past, and it's interesting. So I figured I would just throw something at y'all that maybe you were interested in, because this came up. A question came up yesterday. What do non-humans, right? I think the way they worded the question was ultra-terrestrials. But regardless, what do non-humans think about human music? So when I heard that question come up, I was like Horshack in Welcome Back, Kotter. Ooh, I know that one. This is a fun one, so hold on. So it works like this. When Thomas responded to the question, he was 100% correct, right? There's things to do right now that are not that, okay? Like, our interactions with non-humans are very sensitive and important and focused in all that right now. So it's not like, you know, there's some kind of, you know, musical exchange going on right now. Not that won't happen in the future. So they're focused on more, you know, eminent, pertinent things right now, which they should be, of course. So that's you know, that's righteous. But it just so happens that I have had the opportunity to gather information about that over the years, from more than one non-human species. So yeah, so that, let's jump into that. I'll make it short, but I'll give you something because it is interesting, and as a musician or artist, it's been of interest to me over the years, and so I've actually investigated that a little bit, and had some great responses, and had non-humans give me their perspective. So the first thing to know is that there's a lot of different responses depending on the species, right? They have different artistic propensities, different ways they approach music, and some aren't they don't actually make outright songs. Their music comes from a different direction, and we'll get into that in a minute. But it's a great place to start is to think of the modern history of that interaction. Okay, so as was reported recently, and these numbers sound pretty good to me, and very difficult to come by information, was recently released, in fact yesterday, that plays very heavily into the answer to that question: what do non-humans think of our music? And the information is this: the population disbursement of humans and non-humans on Midgard, right? So if only 63% of the beings on Midgard are humans, okay, 63%, okay, that we think of like intelligent species, right? Not including bears and stuff, right? Just people, okay? Only 63% are human, okay? Then you have another 24% that are not human, that are masquerading as humans. So you have a bunch of tons, 24% of the population of intelligent beings on this planet is non-humans faking that they're human. So they've been alongside us making music with us, those specific groups, for a while. Okay, not everyone in every band was human, right? So 100%, like from your perspective, they would be. And do not waste your time going, oh wait, does that mean so and so is a rep to stop? Don't. Just know that there are beings that are absolutely invested, and they're right up in our artwork. They find it fascinating, and they want to be part of that. And the fact that they're residing in very human-like bodies would just speak to partially how they approach music, which leads to the next part of it, which is different non-human entities have different perspectives on it. Uh-oh, we've got a tractor coming. I better cut this quick. All right, so we're going to finish up this thought away from the all those different sounds out there. It's kind of funny that happened. I was hearing the musicality of life all around me, bees and cars and music festivals and whatnot. But no, I did want to finish up this thought because it's interesting, and I think it could be educational. Plus, it's like so smoky out here, I got to get away from it. It looks like I'm all baked. I'm not. It's just like that out here right now. So, all smoky. Ugh. Anyway. No, so in terms of the genetic apparatus of the species, and it's not just its culture and its background, but that also plays heavily in it. It has a lot to do with their physical structure. So, for instance, some non-humans will have, some non-humans just have simply different auditory capacities, of course. This is all the stuff you can just imagine, the physicality of the being is going to affect it. But here's the interesting part that I wanted to jump to, because there's a gradient that goes all the way over from non-humans that are interacting with us and writing music alongside of us, and like that. It's been going on in just kind of in the way that our species has been integrated for thousands of years, that there's just that part of it. So that's like the most extreme example of integration of it now, even though we don't have like official non-human human musical liaisonship or anything. And different beings will they may see sound, right? They recognize energy differently than we do. They might hear in color. In fact, there are human beings that can do this as well, and people who don't hear color or see sound won't understand that there are others who do. And so that might seem crazy to them, but everybody's wired a little differently. But that does play heavily into it. but here's the thing that I think that's really, it was really cool. I was given information by a wonderful non-human who was speaking of music from a completely different direction. They were expressing that they found musicality in all of life. In other words, that every act of creation or movement had a sound to it, and they can hear that, right? And again, humans can become sensitive to this too, very much so. But for an example, it would be like whether they were gardening, for instance. There's a sound to gardening. That nature itself has music. That in silence, if we become still and we're not listening to the inner monologue and that kind of thing, if we become still, then we will hear the sound of plants growing, of the stars. You hear these things, and that to them is their music. They don't need to outright write songs because they feel as if they're swimming in music all the time. And so they embrace that, and so they use that in their daily activities. So for instance, the way they garden would make an energetic sound that's musical to them. So they garden in a musical way. So they're, embracing that moment. As well as, like, if they're building a three-dimensional, like what you would think of as a 3D object, but let's say they're making even like a fourth-dimensional object, whatever, they're making something. The act of making that can be beautiful, right? Like some non-humans would never make a piece of machinery like that tractor we just heard earlier, because it's just so, like, why would you make that? Like, they would want to make something that sounded harmonious with that which is around them, so there was a musicality to simply driving a tractor. You can see examples of this mentality of making harmony with your creation when you look at certain ancient technologies where they just didn't want to be loud and they wanted to be efficient. You'll notice the Egyptians didn't have, you look at their ancient writings and stuff, you don't see a lot of wheels. Like, where's all the wheels? How'd they build this without a bunch of circles around, And not that they didn't have circles or wheels weren't available to them, but why would they use that if they had electrogravitics? It's more efficient, it's cheaper, solid state, no moving parts. It sounds nicer because it's not really making a big crazy sound. So, not that those guys didn't have their downside, right? But really, you can approach. It just speaks to the different mentalities that even a human can take toward life in music. I just wanted to hit that question out because I know that as I explored music in my life, it has given me back a lot. It's one of those things that's like a wonderful exchange. Like what you get out of it, what you put into it in life, right? Absolutely. And the more you put into music, the more you'll get out of it. Just like with any relationship, hopefully a good bank account, right? You'll put money in, it'll actually be there when you go to get it out, right? You want to feel like there's return on your investment, even in service to others. Like it's not unhealthy to give, or you're throwing pearls before swine or whatever. So the important things you do are giving back to you and your people and your community and, and your tribe. So when the question came up about what do non-humans think about human music, we could talk about that a lot, but really, I thought the most enlightening part to me was that we can see. It's another, just one more reason to become still and listen and feel what life feels like, and that has its own music and beauty. We don't always have to be loud and ruckusy. I love that stuff. So I encourage you to embrace a little bit of that, and don't worry so much about what the non-humans think about it. What you need to do is focus on what you think about it. Not that that's a bad question. No, not judging or dissing the person asked that question. I've asked it myself a lot. But the focus is on your music. Your focus is on, are you writing music with your neighbors, right? Like I write music with a person who just is one of the most inspiring people I know, just a great person, and just being together, that even if we never recorded it, it would be valuable just to be there in the room with that person, doing the music, just for its own sake, just, you don't have to sell it. I don't, right? I just give it away. You can do it because you love it, and it helps you grow and the people around you too. So Yeah, do something beautiful, embrace the musicality of life and every word, and every stillness between words and every tweet of the bird and every silence between those tweets. Um, yeah, yeah. Go to places where your heart sings and sing along. Find the harmony and sing right alongside it. That's what part of thinking differently and love winning is about. Is harmonizing and doing loving things in the now. So I hope that answered a little bit of that question. Yeah, sorry about the sound interruptions there earlier. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we could talk about that for a minute, but ultimately I just wanted to touch on that because it really is, again, this is about bringing us into our centered space, our now space, our connection with those things around us, and be in the moment and feeling empowered by the energy of creation and finding beauty in every moment. And so there's just a little bit there on what non-humans think about music. Their opinions kind of it spans the spectrum, and one day we'll have the opportunity to explore that more openly, and we'll have better interactions in the future. But right now we're focused on the human things and loving one another and strengthening ourselves so that we can be strong for others. Okay, I'm in and there. We have to be strong so that we can be strong for others. A lot's coming, and people are going to need strength. They're going to need pillars that are holding the line, and holding the beacon, holding the light and the centered space. So we need to be that, so let's do that. Okay, so this section is for you, my sister Leslie. Thank you so much. You warmed my heart. Oh my goodness. I thank you. You know what you did. There are acts of love that people do. They don't realize how big they are. They think it might be a small thing, but they don't realize how big it is. There's a person in THI, Oregon named Leslie who has just been nothing but kind and inspiring, and she does personal acts of love that are just what it takes and just at the right time. I think she has a good intuition for that. She has a sensitivity and a feeling of kind of knowing when reaching out and giving encouragement really matters, and we all need that, So I wanted to say thank you so much. A little secret is what happened is she became a Patreon patron. And it warmed my heart. And it happened at a time that was like, it's funny, when it came in, I saw that she had joined. I was I was in a mental space that was like I was really having to observe a lot of things at once. And it was really crazy difficult, and it felt really, really heavy. And when she came in with this, when she signed up, it was like she came in just to be like that spotter when you're doing that last rep, when you're like trying to bench press, you're like, and you're trying to get that last rep out, and you just feel like you're just going to drop it. What happened is Leslie came in, and whether she knew that's what she was doing or not, she was like that spotter that just kind of put her hands on the bar and just like helped me lift it up. And we need that. We all get each other's back in one way or another sometimes, and I just want you to know, Leslie, that you might have thought it was a small act, but it is huge value, and those things resonate outward. So thank you, and thank you also to D-Love, Michael Height, y'all at THI Oregon, who are really the core of it, and understanding that it's hard. And I just want to say thank you guys for what you do for me. You may not realize how much it matters. So you should know that, and thank you. That's what that's about. So what I did was, Leslie, is I had to give you something back. I realized I didn't have anything on my Patreon to you know, it made me want to add a bunch more to my Patreon. I have some fun things I want to put in there for you, you know, so that it makes it worth your while that you're in there, and you have some special access to some special stuff because you're a special person and you deserve it. So I'm gonna put some things in there, but I couldn't help myself, and I wanted to put a little song together for you. So yeah, right, you deserve that too. So let's write you a song. Oh wait, that already happened. Mwah. Check it out. I love you guys. I'm not promising everyone that joins Patreon I'll write you a song. I'm not promising that. You're special, Leslie, and it came at the right time. So thank you. And here it is. Mwah. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, this one's an instrumental track I call For Leslie. Oh, by the way, this right here, this beautiful flower, is called a MuGungHua, 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 and it's a type of what we would call hibiscus over here, and this happens to be the national flower of South Korea. You know, just so you know. Yeah, now you know. So I love you. And thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope you feel encouraged and good. Go check out that book, you know. Hug people you know. Do something awesome, you know. Make something beautiful. Let's do this. We're doing this. Give yourself some credit too. If you've made it this far, whew, you went through some shit. So, bless you. Mwah! We're gonna call it there. Zenja out.